There was on December 6th a new camera registration from Sony.
How did we miss this?
We were in the middle of Christmas.
That's right.
Yes.
That Christmas episode was a lot.
But Sony on December 6th, they registered a camera in China.
Okay.
And Scott predicted this. He said, what you're thinking was wrong. But it's the only thing that we can think, unless you're willing to share, Scott, what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it is rumored to be the new A75.
So I was pretty sure at the end of last year, I said that we were going to get an A75 in the first quarter of this year. So if I was thinking that, then I'm wrong. So it's going to be something else. What am I not thinking that it could be? Scott,
Are we getting bro?
We're getting
Sony
FX. We're getting FX 14, and it's coming out tomorrow because that is not what I'm thinking.
Oh, that's what I said about Sony and FX6 Mark II.
Oh, maybe. I don't think we're getting that.
Yeah. Oh, well, full frame, ultra compact. What that ACR 3?
So what are the officials? Do we have any specs on this this registered camera yet?
100. Well, we've got, the interesting part is we have multiple specs. We have conservative specs and we have bold specs. What do you want to hear?
Well, Scott's currently saying full frame ultra compact. So let's go conservative specs and see if they align with him. And if they're off, then we'll go bold.
So here's the A75. Okay.
By the way, I love all of y'all, but y'all are blowing up my phone signing up for this thing. So if I like just kind of push my phone off to the side, definitely still sign up for CFA Connect, but my phone is blowing up.
This is what you get when you go conservative specs. You get really watered down.
It will be a camera.
33 megapixels, full frame.
Okay.
CMOS sensor. The same sensor from the A74. Excellent dynamic range and low light performance. Less jelly. Okay. It could inherit the advanced Bion Z AXR processor from the A74. Wow, this sounds like a rehoused A74. This sounds like hate. Improved AI-based autofocus and continuous shooting of 10 frames per second, mechanical. And then the thing that you guys really want to know, 4K 60, 10-bit 422.
Can I tell you what this sounds like to me?
An A74.
No. It sounds like a ZVE 2. ZVE 1? Yeah. The content creator camera.
Oh, okay.
That about almost not quite 2 years, but almost pushing about 2 years.
Yeah.
The ZVE 1 as the content creator's camera. It didn't have a lot of photography specs. It was video first. It had a lot of really cool AI features, like the ability to change the aperture if it detected another person.
Yeah.
It did the reframing thing. It never was really great at the reframing thing, but I'm sure AI has gotten better. So it sounds to me like this is probably using, like Sony typically does. Oh, that's cool from that camera. Oh, that's cool from this camera. And then we're going to go push it on a market that has not experienced these things before. ZVE2. And it's going to be the best camera for, I mean...
Terry. Tight t-shirt Terry.
Tight t-shirt.
Terry tight t-shirt. I can't remember. I'm sorry, Terry. I'm sorry, Terry.
Tight t-shirt Terry.
Tight t-shirt. I can't. I'm done. It's great for him.
Yeah. No, he uses some other more high-end Sonys too.
100%.
But I do think that this will be like the new... You know what it sounds like?
Yeah.
This is Sony's approach to the Lumix S9. That's what it is.
Ain't nobody want an A74. Nobody wanted the A74. Why do we want it in an ultra compact body?
Huh?
Nobody wanted the A74. Who wants it in a compact body?
I'm just telling you, man. I'm just saying what it is.
Do you want to hear what the bold prediction for the A75 will be?
Is it the A75 or is it this camera that?
So this, well, they're assuming, it's being rumored that the December 6th registration is for the A75. The conservative specs are basically a rehoused A74.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the hoped for what they think that it may be.
Okay.
A brand new sensor, 44 megapixels, CMOS sensor. Continuous shooting, 20 frames per second. Check this out. 4K 120 and possibly 8K 30. And then all of the AI advancements in their new cameras, now in the A75. And last but not least, let's see. Oh, they're going to upgrade their EVF, which I don't believe, to a 3.68 million dot, which they probably need to do. All right. So 8K 30, 4K 120, A75.
Yeah, it sounds like two totally different cameras are being talked about here. So,
well, I think it's like what we feel like Sony will do.
Mm-hmm.
Rehouse a camera that they already have in a different body.
Right.
Which is what they're typical of doing.
Yeah.
And then we have this is what we hope Sony would do.
Yeah. That's not a rumor. That's just wishful thinking.
Now, this sounds like Sony hate, and I'm sorry, Lewis. This is not Sony hate. I do think that they could do either. You know what I mean? Like, let's not act like Sony doesn't innovate. They do innovate. But at the same time of innovation, the same time they'll do an A9 III, they will do an ACR2, whatever. What's it called? What's that?
Which one?
Their full frame, ACR2.
Oh, the A7C2.
No. Oh, yeah. A7C2.
It's technically a 7. So it's an A7, and then C for compact, and then there's the 2, and then there's the A7CR.
So they'll do an A9 III and step out into the deep end, charge the hill. And then they'll also do like an A7C2.
Yeah.
They do both.
That's what I'm saying. This sounds like two different cameras. Mm-hmm. So like my gut is saying one, like the first thing you acknowledged or that you broke down sounded like a ZVE2, right? Because we just saw the ZVE10 Mark II just get an update last year. That's the crop version. So it makes sense to then come out with a full frame version that's better than that crop version, because that crop version even has some features that the full frame version doesn't have yet, right? So bring all those features over to the ZVE2. And that's the first camera you announced. The second camera seems like wishful thinking, if I'm being fully transparent. But I feel like this year, hopefully, I hope this year they make cameras that are a little bit more, like last year didn't really feel like cameras for everybody. You know what I mean? Like they went after certain markets and they took care of those markets. I think this year will be the year that we should get an A75. I want to say it's a year that we'll get some updates to the cinema line, although my gut tells me that's not true, just based off of some of the firmware updates they did just less than 3 to 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you do firmware updates like that if you're going to release like an updated camera just a few months later. But I think regardless, the first camera that Sony comes out with this year has to make a statement for them this year.
So this is my question for you. Knowing that the R6 Mark III is coming, and I'm not trying to make this about Canon, knowing that the R6 II was the most popularly bought camera last year, what are you doing to compete against that camera? Like, does the ZVE2 or the A75, I feel like the A75 is a more expensive camera. What are you doing to compete against the Z6 III?
I think the
what's
A7
Sony?
No, I think the A7 what are you doing?
The in between. What are they doing in between?
Well, and that's the thing, is I don't think Sony thinks about necessarily the in between. Like Canon will release less cameras, but the cameras have larger, what is that, Venn diagrams? Sony, this has always been their thing, they release more cameras that might have smaller Venn diagrams, but they're going to be closer to the direct needs of that particular user. They might miss some people And that's why you get to where everyone's like, Sony has too many cameras. And it's like, yeah, because they're deciding to release more cameras to get closer to the target market versus Canon, who will release less. Hold on. They will release less cameras, but the cameras do more so that they can reach. Why are you you get so mad so fast?
Answer the question, Brandon. How is Sony going to respond to the $2,500 cameras coming from Nikon and from Canon?
With the A74, that's what I'm saying. The A74 is going to be like $2,500.
The A75?
Or the A75, sorry. Okay. It's going to be $2,500.
You think so? I think it's going to be...
The A7 III came out at $2,000.
Okay.
The A7 IV came out at $2,300. So yeah, it makes sense that the A7 V should come out at around $2,300 to $2,500. It's got to directly compete against the R6 Mark II, or R6 Mark III that's going to be coming, and Nikon's Z6 III. To me, that's the camera. It's the hybrid camera. It does a little bit of video, does a little bit of photo. It does them both fairly well. All they got to do is figure out the readout speed on it, and they should be good. I think the A7 IV is a phenomenal camera, minus its readout speed. They got cheap with the processor, and it has a slow readout speed, which sort of tanked it. But aside from that, everywhere else across the board, it's an amazing camera.
Yeah.
So that's just my thought.
No, I'm saying that in the sense of the conservative camera that we looked at versus the bold one. If they did the bold one and they were able to keep it at that price point, I think we might have a new king at the $2,500 price point. But if they go with the more conservative deals and it's just a rehoused A74, I don't know that people are going to get up and be excited about it.
Hey, thanks so much for checking out this clip. But you know what's better than watching these clips? Enjoying the show live, which we do every single Friday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. The best part is if you disagree with what we have to say, you can tell us that live in the chat. So we'd love to see you there this Friday.